Welcome to Meet Miss Jess, where we discuss education, relationships, and trends in sustainable fashion. Each week, we'll share stories and insights to cultivate a more empathetic and inclusive world. Welcome to Meet Miss Jess.
Well, Dominic, thank you for being my second guest on my new podcast, Meet Miss Jess VR. I'm really excited because I've known you from LinkedIn for like my whole career there, which it really feels like a career because it's work. Like
it is.
It's not like it's active. It's not a passive thing to become successful on LinkedIn. You have to you have to put in consistent work and you have to develop relationships with people.
Yeah.
And you are like one of the best at developing relationships. You make people feel good about themselves, which is like the key. It's the golden ticket to earn trust. It's essential in teaching to gain the students' trust for them to open up enough to trust what you're saying is something they believe as well. What you can go about it other ways too, but this is the positive, long-lasting way to do it. And I always smile when I see you in the feed and in my comment section. So thank you.
Jess, I just want to quickly say this, how I remember when I first saw one of your posts, I said to myself, that's someone I need to become lifelong friends with. The energy, the words, just from that first post. And I'm so grateful for however long we've been connected. Each day, I truly treasure your friendship. You're such a bright light. And when I see your posts, it comes naturally to want to say something positive and high energy because you're vibing on the type of emotional frequency that I appreciate people like you. So just thank you for being my friend, Jess. I appreciate the heck out of you. I really do.
Well, I feel the same way. And I feel like we have developed this kind of network of like-minded people who are, really driven for all the right reasons. And it's a special kind of person that can balance work and life and, in a way that grows. And you do that very well. And how do you manage to do that? Because you don't go around salesy all the time. Like a lot of people think that's what you're supposed to do, but like you're just out there making friends.
You know what? And this was one of my LinkedIn posts earlier in the week where I talked about how it was about 7 years ago, give or take this, around this time when I changed how I approach LinkedIn. So 10 years ago, I became an entrepreneur. I left corporate. And I started to learn, sales and all that stuff, and it got me nowhere. And my life changed forever the day I stopped treating LinkedIn as a sales tool and started treating it as a friendship finder. And it completely transformed my life, personally, professionally. And I recognized that when you just try to just offer and give friendship, that's all I try to do on this platform. That amazing things that my mind can't even conceive, magic that I can't even think about, always ends up manifesting simply because I'm just trying to lead with friendship and giving friendship. So that's my mantra. Each and every day, I spend about 60 to 90 minutes just trying to be good, put a smile on someone's face, try to remind someone, even if they're feeling bad about themselves, that they're amazing. That's what I try to do and why I spend, again, focusing on friendship on LinkedIn, because like I said, it's rewarded my life in ways that I could never have fathomed 10 years ago. And if for no other reasons, it's allowed me to form amazing, life enriching friendships with incredible human beings like you, like Josh, and all the amazing human beings that we know.
Wow. Yeah. So you do this and you do it so naturally, and it's amazing. It feels good to be around you. And that really is what attracts more people. So what is it that your passion is outside of friendship?
Just to give you to answer that question, I need to give you a bit more context about, I guess, my professional history. So I've been in cybersecurity for 21 years. And when I started my career, I was very much in corporate driven, focused on going up the corporate ladder. And I was singularly focused on that. And I got to this goal that I wanted, where I was in charge of cybersecurity for a fairly large organization here in Vancouver, Canada, where I live. And when I got there, I was like, well, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel like what I thought it would be. And I spent 10 years just working towards that. I was in a toxic environment. I worked under a toxic boss, and I completely burned out. And I ended up not even recognizing myself and falling backwards into becoming an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, I'm so grateful that I ended up falling into that path, because at the time it felt like terrible luck. It felt like my whole world was falling apart. But had that not happened, had I not worked under a toxic boss, there's a good chance I would have stayed in corporate. There's a good chance you and I would never have become friends. So I'm grateful that I went through that burnout, because it put me on a path where I was able to explore different dimensions about myself. I was able to challenge long held assumptions I had about myself. And it made me really refocus on what is it that, at least professionally, gives me the greatest joy. And that brought me sort of my 10-year career as an entrepreneur, brought me to the point where there's three areas where I love focusing on, things that professionally set my soul on fire. One of them is providing fractional cybersecurity leadership to small and mid-sized organizations. I love working with manufacturing companies, smaller companies that they get hit by ransomware, data breaches. Like, cybersecurity is such a real thing in this very digitized world that we live in, and so many smaller organizations just struggle to deal with it. I love working with business owners and executives and just making it real, and helping them in a kind, pragmatic way. So that's one thing that sets my soul on fire. Second thing is coaching. I love coaching. I love trying to draw out truer versions of ourselves with people that I support and coach. And in my LinkedIn byline, I talk about how through my coaching, I bridge humanity and technology. I focus on coaching technologists, IT people who often struggle with the people side of things. They have great technical skills, but most technical people really struggle with their people skills. So I love coaching. Generally, organizations bring me in to coach their technical leaders, their technical teams, to be more in tune with their human side, how to be more empathetic, how to be better communicators. And I love doing that. Being part of someone's journey is a blessing. And it's truly humbling to see someone reach another level or explore another dimension about themselves that they didn't believe possible. So those are the two things that drive me professionally. I love talking and giving talks and at various engagements, and again, it's either around security or it's around, like I said, developing yourself as a human, developing yourself as a leader. And I sprinkle LinkedIn around that. LinkedIn is my glue, and that is essentially professionally me in a nutshell.
Wow. So there's a lot of cybersecurity people. Like, they started coming out of the woodworks like a year ago, and they're everywhere. And when I started to notice more of them, I was like, okay, so there's clearly a problem we don't see yet that we need to see, because none of you guys are pushy. Like, you're all the nicest people in the whole world. I feel safe when I have you guys in my network. And I know I've heard things that go on that it's needed for, but what is the big secret? Like, what is happening that all of you are so needed, that you're all coming out fearlessly and very confidently and without a sales pitch?
And that's a really great question, Jess. And I appreciate you asking that. I mean, where we are right now is we're in this just an incredibly digitized era, where even the smallest of organizations, they are all in from a digital perspective, right? We're companies and organizations are data driven. They're system driven. With the advances of things like AI, we're just so all into what's called technology stacks. And there's inherent risk with that, right? And that is what is sort of collectively referred to as cyber risk. And criminals across the world know this, right? Cybercrime has surpassed, physical crime as being the crime of choice. Why? Well, it's safer. They can conduct it anywhere in the world. And every organization, even the smallest of organizations, is a target, and it's very much a wild, wild west where um, organize government sectors and or the government and large organizations, they have the wherewithal maybe to protect themselves digitally. Smaller organizations don't. Like I field calls from companies as small as 2 or 3 people, and they're like, "Yeah, our email was hacked. Now we can't get to it. We can't fulfill our mission. We can't help our customers because our email was hacked." Right? It's no longer something that just big companies need to worry about. Right? So when I started my career 20 years ago, unless you were in healthcare or financial services, no other companies were worrying about cybersecurity. You fast forward, 2 decades later, it pretty much every organization, right? Doesn't matter what industry vertical you're in, doesn't matter what you do, even just you need to be aware of basic cybersecurity things, right? It's just the era that we're in right now, and I think to your point, that's why a lot of security professionals are coming out of the woodwork, and I say by personality, we're probably not necessarily the most pushy people, but we believe in the whole notion of as a risk management discipline. This is something that people need to be aware of, right? And it's important for people not to think of it as a tech thing, but very much like I'll say a risk thing or a risk lens, right? Especially if you run a bigger organization, right? There's operational risk, there's financial risk, there's personnel risk, there's all sorts of risk. Cyber risk is now part and parcel of that. That's why most of my conversations that I have with my clients, I'm not talking with the IT guy or the IT gal. I'm talking with the business owner. I'm talking with the CEO or CFO. I'm talking with the board of directors because they recognize this is something that if they don't deal with, it could absolutely cripple their company.
Wow. So, I mean, in education, this is a huge risk because you have all the data of everyone. You have the students, you have the families, you have
Yep.
the teachers, you have everyone's connected. And I'd
Yep.
imagine we'll just continue to become more connected. And then with more cyber criminals out there, what would be, I don't know, what would you say to someone running a giant educational platform online to prepare them for what they need to get started?
That's such a good question, and you bring up the education sector as a whole, whether it be a private sector education organization or even from a public education perspective. School districts, as an example, they are such a hot area for criminals to go after for cybercrime. Why? Like you said, there's a treasure trove of data that they can sell in the underground market, and often school districts are, especially in the public schools, they're financially strapped, right? They often don't have the wherewithal to properly secure that data. I see that in Canada. I see that in the U.S. There are it's seemingly every week that you see these various school districts just getting hit by cybercrime and being hit by data breaches and student data, students' social security numbers or social insurance numbers, as they're called here in Canada. Right, they're compromised. That's dangerous stuff, and even educational organizations that serve the education sector, when they're dealing with that type of sensitive data, right, something that is entrusted to them, especially a young person's data. Think about your children's data, my children's data. Kids that aren't even old enough to understand what data even means, having their identity compromised before they're even aware of what an identity means. There's serious ramifications there. So to your question, in terms of where can companies start, it can start with just some basic stuff that you don't have to spend money on. My key starting points, one is for any email access or any what's called remote access. So if you're working from home and you need to access a company server or data or what have you, that needs to be controlled through what's called multi-factor authentication. Right? So it's a username, it's a password, and then you have your phone as an example. A pin gets sent to your phone and you enter that code, or a screen pops up on your phone and you have to hit accept. Essentially what it means is that even if your password is compromised, someone has to physically have your device as a way of getting into your account. It's an extra layer of protection. It's something that's offered for free in most popular platforms, even online social media platforms like LinkedIn. It's there. It's not turned on by default. So take the time to do that for any of your sensitive accounts. That's the one thing I tell organizations, even if you're just a one-person company, two-person company. If you just do that one thing, that significantly reduces your risk of compromise at your company. So that's the easy place to start.
Wow, that's good to know. And you make it sound so easy to understand. So
Well,
thank you.
that's my job. I hope I'm making it easy to understand.
Yeah. Well, I think that thinking about this sort of thing is kind of scary. It starts to make your mind worry, and that doesn't feel good. So you're already off to to a rough start. And to want to think about what you do for a living probably isn't something that we do very easily. So your way of making it appear not so scary is helpful.
That's good because it's you know what, and I appreciate you saying that, Jess, because at the end of the day, one of the reasons why this problem has persisted is that it has scary technical undertones, and a lot of people just think, oh, it's too techy or too scary. I'm going to just put it out of sight, out of mind. That's why the thing I've very much focused on, at least the past 10 years, is try to truly humanize it. And I find that by humanizing myself and talking about things paradoxically that aren't related to security, and when I get people to know who I am as a person, they'll see in LinkedIn that, hey, Dom does cybersecurity. I can reach out to Dom because I understand what he's talking about. He's a human first, and it's one of the things which I'm quite proud of the fact that at least in Canada, I was named one of the top 5 cybersecurity influencers on LinkedIn. And like I said, paradoxically, I've tried to shape my industry by not talking about it, but by trying to humanize the field so people feel safer in terms of reaching out, being able to ask questions rather than feeling, like I said, the shame or confusion when they reach out to a technical person and don't understand what that person is saying. So your kind words are well appreciated, my friend.
Well, so your ability to see yourself from other perspectives is really, really cool. And that clearly is why you're so good at coaching, is because you've done the work. So understand, you understand how to communicate properly. You're really just wonderful, Dominic. And I look forward to seeing how I can work with you in the future, and Joshua too. And um, it's just, it's been great to, I mean, LinkedIn is a really cool platform to express who you are in an authentic way and be received in a way that feels safe and supportive. It's a great supportive community, and you know, if you can grab people like yourself to network with and do bigger things with, it's just like a snowball rolling down a hill.
So true. That's so true. And that's the thing. I think ultimately being able to find, like I said, that tribe, that community of people who are trying to do good, be good in the world, and people like I said, when you put people like that together, put those friendships together, that spawns amazing things. Like I said, that end up changing the world, right? So I know there's many years of amazing collaborations, just continual friendship building with you, Joshua, and the amazing community of people and friends that we've forged there, Jess. So this is only the beginning, my friend.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to it. So if you could develop an an AI VR experience to help you do what you do, whether it be in personal development or if it's in security leadership or advisement. What would this, let's say it's a Miss Jess VR experience that we're developing to help in this situation, what kind of VR experience would you create?
That is such a cool question. I'm going to give you 2 answers, one for sort of each of my different areas. So one on the security side, the thing that I absolutely would love to be able to do is have this VR experience that shows business owners, executives, exactly what it's like in the middle of a data breach, in the middle of being hit by ransomware, and all
Hmm.
hell is breaking loose in your organization, right? Because what I find is that uh, there's there's a bias to people who haven't gone through it, and they're like, oh, we're a small company, that's not going to happen to us, or you know what, that only happens to the companies that we see on the 6 o'clock news, right? I'm not worried about that. If you could plop them into that virtually, right, so they would experience what that's like, they could better understand, hey, do you really want that going down at your organization? Can you picture yourself trying to right that ship when all your systems are down, you have customers and clients screaming at you, you have employees not knowing what to do? Do you really want to go through that, right? That to me, I think would be extremely, extremely powerful, because that's often the biggest roadblock I run into is that unknown thing. Because if they haven't experienced it, I'll call it sort of like a perspective bias from their perspective. They haven't gone through it, so to them, it's not the problem that they need to worry about. So that would be one. The other one would be on the coaching side, trying to I would use a AI VR experience to be able to showcase mainly to technical people how if they were to better immerse themselves in less tech talk and be able to be more empathetic and connect with again the non-technical world through things like kindness and empathy, how much better those conversations would be, right? Because one of the biggest problems I find on coaching, especially technical people, is that they love using tech talk. They use those big fancy words, those the tech jargon, right? And because it makes them feel good, it makes them feel smart. I know that because that's what I used to do when I started my career. So to be able to give them an experience to try, hey, if you don't talk like a tech person, here's how your relationships are going to get better, right? I think that would be an amazing coaching tool. But I love that question, Jess. That's never crossed my mind, but that's really cool.
Well, I have so much fun creating Miss Jess VR experiences. Whenever I come to a problem, I look at the problem and go, okay, how can we fix it? And that's just how I've always operated. It really helped me when I was directing childcare centers because there's always a problem because you have so many different dynamics of people and they need help and they need a little bit of buffering and cushioning. So to get to use AI to help craft these experiences has just been fun. Like it could go on forever. There's so many problems in the world that we could craft these solutions to now with technology that like there will be no problems one day and they'll get smaller and smaller and smaller until they're just so small that we're so elevated that they don't matter anymore.
I, and I just love the whole idea too, because it allows you to simulate a solution or solutions to those problems before you necessarily put it out into the real world, right? So to be able to test those ideas in a way where you're getting feedback, I mean like you said, the possibilities are limitless. That's amazing. For Saturday, you just blew my mind. So
Yay! Well, you'll start doing all the time now. You can just like whip out now I use Gemini. I used to do Copilot, but you just whip it out and just chat with it here and there, and then you can send them all to me, and we'll work on
I love
developing.
it. Love it.
That's the dream. Just these micro projects solving all the problems in the world, like superheroes.
It's a deal.
That's like what we get to be in this new
Yeah.
world. We're like superheroes with our technologies. And so transitioning into that, if you could have a superpower, what would it be? Hold on, there's more. What would your outfit look like? Because you have to think avatars, the world of avatars is so fashion forward and good for the environment. And because we're not creating more fabric to go into, the dump. So you have your superpower, your outfit, and your name. Go.
My superpower would be magnifying kindness. I then my outfit would simply just be what I am on a normal basis, with just a hat that I already have that has a K on it for kindness, because I see the power of kindness. my biggest problem, I'll say, is being able to magnify it. I want to be able to spread kindness every day to every person on earth. Everyone should be able to feel some level of kindness on any given day, right? LinkedIn is a tremendous platform that allows me to touch a lot of lives, but to me, that superpower, that super magnetic or magnifying power of just spraying kindness all over the world, right? At any given moment, that to me would be the ultimate superpower. But it would be a very understated outfit.
I think that's so cool. And it kind of brings me to when I asked Joshua T. Berglund this question, he said his superhero outfit would be a suit. And I'm like, well, that's what he loves to wear all the time. And I wonder if, that's really where we're headed into, even like the evolution of superheroes is headed towards a more natural state of being.
Yes.
And not needing so much flashy stuff to make us look cool. We're just happy being in the way that we feel most comfortable.
Yes. I
Not
love
comfortable,
that.
maybe peaceful. I don't.
Yeah.
At peace. Yeah.
And I love that. And I'm certain that Joshua absolutely rocks it in a suit. I can absolutely picture that.
Yeah. He's really good at wearing suits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything we should be on the lookout for with you in the future? Any organizations or people you want to shout out to? Anything you want to promote? Now is your time to let it all shine.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll hit three different things. So one is if what I'm saying, if what putting out there is vibrating on the frequency for the people watching and listening this, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I always love starting a new friendship. They can reach out to me on my company's website. It's Vogel, VOGEL, leadershipcoaching.com. Right, you can again engage with me there. Like I said at the beginning, I'm just all about forming meaningful friendships. So if this is jiving with people, please have them. They can reach out, connect, and I look forward to building an awesome friendship with them. Number two is that I am working on a book. I'm not sure when it's coming out yet, but it's essentially entail my approach over the past 7 years, sort of what I at least have right now called the Kindness Project, where it talks about over the past 7 years how I rerouted my life in terms of going from trying to sell and just trying to share kindness, share friendship. And some of that, like I said, I've at least right now entitled the Kindness Project. So I'm going to be talking about my LinkedIn journey, my approach to building friendships and relationships. So that book is hopefully, I'm going to say hopefully maybe it's 9 to 12 months away, but you never know with kids. But it is my goal, like I said, to share more of that story with the world. And the third thing is I talk about her a lot on my LinkedIn, but I want to talk about my amazing wife, Chrissy, and her baking journey. She has really gone all in on from an entrepreneurial perspective. She's always had this amazing passion for baking. She creates the most incredible pieces of art, and they're extremely delicious as well. Her company is called Sugar Rush. She's been auditioning to be on baking shows. I know she's a superstar in the making, and I love being able to promote her and tell the world how proud of her I am, because I get a front row seat to watching her amazing journey and seeing her capacity for change and capacity for growth. So if people are interested in following her for no other reason, just to look at Yummy Delicious Goods, it's Instagram.com/sugar_rush_Chrissy, Krissy. So those are three things I want to call out. And I'll also circle back and just say, for people who are listening and watching, watch who I support on LinkedIn, right? Please connect with those people. People like Jess, they are life givers. They make the world a brighter, lighter place. If you're not following people that I'm engaging with on a daily basis, take the time to reach out and support them, because they're all incredible humans. So that's all I got for you, Jess.
That was great. That was beautiful. Thank you. You are an amazing partner, and I want to have you back on in the future because you're also an amazing dad. And I see pictures all the time, and you guys are adorable. And I want to talk about parenting with you because I'm curious on your perspectives of parenting and the school systems and your adventure and journey there too. So
Let's
we'll
do
have
that,
to do that.
Jess. I have plenty to say there, my friend.
Yay!
So I look forward to that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dominic. And till then, have an amazing every day.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much.